Dawn, February 19, 1945. Iwo Jima. A sulphurous wind sweeps across the black volcanic sand of the invasion beach. The first pale light catches on the steel prows of Higgins boats grinding ashore. From the mouth of a shallow cave on the northern slope of Mount Suribachi, Private Tetsuo Nakamura, 23, clutches his Arisaka rifle and peers through a slit in the coral-reinforced bunker. The air inside is already thick with the reek of unwashed bodies and cordite. Below, American Marines in olive drab spill from the ramps like ants from a disturbed nest. Nakamura's fingers tighten on the rifle's walnut stock. He has been told these men are soft, weakened by jazz music and Hollywood decadence. He expects them to falter under the first volley. Yet the broader Pacific War has already taught the Empire a colder arithmetic. By early 1945, Japan's merchant fleet lies at the bottom of the sea, its oil arteries severed by American submarines. The home islands ration rice to 1,600 calories per citizen per day. Frontline troops on Iwo receive half that. The official Imperial Japanese Army Field Manual still speaks of spiritual superiority over material weight. But the 21,000 defenders of the island know the truth. Each man carries 90 rounds, 2 grenades and a single Type 99 mine. Across the water, the United States Fifth Fleet has fired more shells in the preceding 74 days of pre-invasion bombardment than the entire Japanese annual production of artillery ammunition. This is the context Private Nakamura breathes. A fortress built to bleed the invader, yet supplied only to die. The Marines expected a repeat of Tarawa. Bloody, but finite. Intelligence estimated 13,000 defenders. Aerial photographs missed the honeycomb of tunnels. They waded ashore believing the island's 8 square miles could be taken in 4 days. Instead, the first wave met no rifle fire at all. The silence unnerved them more than bullets. Then the mountain erupted. Type 93 machine guns, relics of the China campaign, chattered from concealed embrasures. Mortar rounds arced in perfect parabolas. By noon, 2,400 Americans lay dead or wounded on the narrow terraces above the surf. The Japanese, too, had miscalculated. They believed their bunkers, roofed with 3 feet of reinforced concrete and volcanic ash, were invincible. They were not. At 1417, the sky darkened again, not with smoke, but with the silhouette of F-4U Corsairs. Each gull-winged fighter carried a belly tank of napalm, 1,000 pounds of jellied gasoline mixed with palmitic acid, a recipe perfected at the Chemical Warfare Service laboratories in Maryland. The first canister tumbled end over end, struck the reverse slope 50 yards upslope from Nakamura's position, and blossomed into a liquid sun. A roar like a typhoon swallowed the world. Superheated air expanded at 2,000 feet per second. Pressure ruptured eardrums before the flame arrived. Coral sand fused into glass. Inside Bunker 47, Sergeant Hiroshi Kato recorded the moment in a diary later recovered by the 28th Marines. The devil's fire pours through every vent. We beat at the walls with rifle butts, but the heat cooks the blood in our veins. The temperature inside reached 1,800 degrees Fahrenheit within 8 seconds. Leather boots melted to flesh. Rifles warped into useless sculpture. Of the 43 men in the position, only one emerged. Hairless, blind, screaming, before a Marine finished him with a single .45 round. Napalm was not merely a weapon, it was a declaration. In 1941, Japanese propaganda had mocked American candy bombers, dropping Hershey bars to Dutch civilians. By 1945, the same factories that produced those chocolate bars now turned out 1.5 million gallons of napalm per month. The recurring symbol, chocolate, haunts the Japanese memory. Captured documents reveal soldiers trading rumors of Marines pausing mid-assault to unwrap foil-wrapped rectangles, chewing calmly while flamethrower teams advanced. One Japanese lieutenant wrote, They fight on full stomachs. We fight on memories of rice. The chocolate bar becomes the quiet antithesis of the rice ball. Abundance against austerity. Democracy's casual plenty against the emperor's mandated hunger. By nightfall on D+1, the pattern repeated across the island's 600 bunkers. Corsairs flew 240 napalm sorties. 68,000 gallons of the mixture coated the Motoyama Plateau. Official U.S. Navy after-action reports list 131 confirmed bunker destructions by incendiary means. Japanese radio traffic, intercepted and translated at Pearl Harbor, devolved into fragments. Fire rain. Cannot breathe. Send water. The 109th Division's signal log ends at 1942 with a single kanji. Ran, burn. Private Nakamura survived the first strike only because his bunker lay in a draw shielded by a spur of rock. When the second wave came at dusk, he watched the canister strike the parapet above him. The napalm slid down the slope like molten glass, seeping through ventilation slits. He remembers the smell, sweet, metallic, like overripe persimmons left in the sun. Then the screams, not the disciplined banzai yell drilled into every recruit, but something animal, wordless. Men tore at their own throats to let the heat escape. Nakamura crawled over bodies already carbonized, their eyeballs burst like grapes. He emerged into a landscape transformed. The island's perpetual dust devils now carried glowing embers. The night sky reflected orange, as if the sun had fallen to earth. In that moment, the ideology of the divine wind cracked. The emperor was not protecting them. The kami of fire had chosen another side. Across the island, the transformation spread like the napalm itself. Veterans of Nanjing and Bataan, men who had bayoneted prisoners without hesitation, now huddled in drainage culverts, whispering about surrender. A regimental commander, Colonel Takechi Nishi, the Olympic equestrian, ordered his last reserves to fix bayonets for a night attack, then shot himself when only 14 men obeyed. The napalm did not merely kill, it cauterized belief. By March 26th, when the island was declared secure, 20,703 Japanese were dead. Only 216 taken prisoner. The official U.S. tally of napalm used 407,400 gallons. The cost in American lives, 6,821. Each gallon purchased 3 Japanese deaths and 1 American wound, a ratio no samurai poem could reconcile. Years later, survivors on both sides would recall the same sensory ghost, the smell of burning sugar. Napalm's palmitic acid carried a cloying sweetness that clung to uniforms, to memory. For the Marines, it became the scent of victory. For the Japanese, the perfume of annihilation. The chocolate bar and the napalm canister, twin emblems of the same industrial democracy, merged in the crucible of Iwo Jima. One fed the body, the other consumed it, but both testified to a nation that could produce surplus enough to share or to destroy. In the end, the island's black sand drank everything: blood, gasoline, ideology. Mount Suribachi still stands, its summit now crowned by a memorial whose bronze figures raise not a rising sun, but the stars and stripes. Beneath, in tunnels collapsed by dynamite and time, fragments remain. A warped Arasaka barrel, a melted canteen, the foil wrapper of a Hershey bar pressed into volcanic glass. The fire that turned bunkers into infernos also fused opposites, scarcity and plenitude, Bushido and mass production, into a single, indelible truth. Freedom is not merely the absence of chains, it is the presence of enough. Enough steel, enough fuel, enough chocolate, enough will to rain hell upon those who believe hunger alone can forge an empire. The cries that echoed across Iwo Jima that February dawn were not merely of pain, but of a world ending. One where a man could be asked to die for a rice ball and discover too late that his enemy fought sustained by something sweeter and far more terrible.